But their response is chaotic. Some even throw stones back at protesters. Seeing the gatehouse on fire, panicked officers radio for help, asking their superiors for permission to use live ammunition. We know this because the BBC has obtained a leak of the police radio log that day. This document has never been made public. It reveals that it's now at 12:40 that the authorization to use force is given. That order marked a turning point. Over the next 2 hours, at least 6 protesters will be shot, 5 of them fatally. We're going to slow down here and show you the details of those shootings. The first takes place at the corner of the parliamentary complex. The victim is 34-year-old Binod Maharjan. We found no video of the shooting, but at 1:15, we see Binod carried away with a critical injury to the head. He dies later at hospital. On Discord, news of live fire spreads quickly. And on the streets, anger escalates to fury. The police are overwhelmed. One group is cornered outside the gates. At 1:42, our police timeline records the panic among officers.
Police bleeding profusely and about to be killed. Shooting at main gate may be necessary.
The assault lasts for 4 minutes. Eventually, they use tear gas to drive back the crowd and retreat into the grounds of Parliament.
Guys, लोग परिवर्तनको लागि यतिको क्रान्ति खोजेको थियो सायद देशले गोली बर्सात भइरहेको छ थाहा छैन कतिजनाको मृत्यु भइसक्यो कतिजनालाई घाइते भएका छन् हैन एक पछिबाट हेर्ने हो भनेदेखि चाहिँ पुलिसहरुलाई पनि बिचरा माया लाग्यो.
The next order to come through police radio is unambiguous.
Open fire to establish safety. Regain control of situation.
The next person to be shot is 27-year-old Kamal Ghimire. At 1:48, we find him on the opposite side of the avenue. This is the view from Kamal's own phone. He records a group of police officers, at least 2 of whom are armed with handguns. Kamal then walks away from the front lines. His camera captures this man throwing a stone at police. And then Kamal falls. We have found another view of this incident. Here is Kamal, the man throwing the stone, and the moment Kamal is shot. His medical report states that the bullet entered beneath his left arm and exited through his back. We do not know the precise trajectory, but we can see the general direction from which this bullet was fired. And it points toward the same group of police Kamal Ghimire had filmed just moments before. The bullet missed Kamal's spine by millimeters. He survived. At almost the same moment, 200 meters to the west, another young man is shot. This is 22-year-old Rashik Khatiola earlier in the day. His t-shirt says, "We want leaders, not looters." We do not know exactly when Rashik is shot or from where, but at 1:53, a protester's phone captured these images of Rashik being carried away with a bullet wound to his chest. He died of this injury. He was 22. By this time, accounts on Discord are urging demonstrators to leave. But 24-year-old Sulavraj Shrestha stays at the parliament gates. He's carrying a sign that says, "No more corruption." We see him here, wearing the blue backpack, observing the confrontation at the gate. Seconds later, just a few steps away,
Look at it.
Sulav is dead. Realizing that he could not be saved, protesters carry Sulav to the gates. They lay his body on the road, directly in front of police, and cover it in Nepal's flag. Among those who witnessed the shooting was 17-year-old Shriyam Chaulagai, the boy in school uniform. Minutes later, closer to the junction, we catch Shriyam again. Ahead of him, a group of protesters is pelting the police with stones. Shriyam turns away from the violence and moves back towards the junction. These are the last steps he takes. Moments later, another phone captures images which go viral across Nepal. Bleeding heavily from a gunshot wound to the back of the head, Shriyam is carried across the road. Bystanders lift him into an ambulance, but it's too late. By the time he arrives at the National Trauma Center, Shriyam is dead. He is the youngest victim shot outside Nepal's parliament on September 8th. Nepal's Gen Z protesters have always maintained that Binod, Rashik and Shriyam were killed by police, but none of those shootings was captured on camera. The next person to be killed, Yogendra Nupani, is shot just a few steps away. And this time, we have the clearest evidence yet that, as Yogendra fell, shots were being fired from inside the grounds of Parliament. Just 90 seconds before this shooting, vlogger Nishad Dahal turned his camera towards the grounds of Parliament. Pay attention to this group of police officers. At exactly 2:21, they move towards the wall, separating Parliament from the street. Seconds later, we hear 7 gunshots. And see Yogendra bleeding to death on the ground. This camera angle does not reveal who shot him. But we found another clip of the same moment, filmed from a few steps further along the pavement. At first glance, there is no more evidence here. But if we zoom in and stabilize the footage, we can clearly see gunshots.
गोली चलाइरहेको छु
15 seconds later, a third camera captures what appears to be the same group of officers moving towards the corner of the grounds. This is the clearest visual evidence we have found indicating that unarmed protesters were shot dead by Nepali police from inside the grounds of Parliament. Protesters took what cover they could find. Yogendra died of his injuries. He was 24. In the footage investigated by the BBC, neither Yogendra nor any of the other victims we have examined was engaged in any violence. According to official figures, 19 young Nepalis were killed in the protests on September 8th. A further 300 were injured. So how did the police come to fire on their own citizens? According to our police sources and the leaked transcript, the order came through police radio from call sign Kilo 1.
हाम्रो केही साथीहरू गम्भीर रूपमा घाइते भए हामी मध्ये एकजनाले उद्धारको लागि भन्यो किलो 1 बाट गोली चलाउने आदेश आयो
Kilo 1 was Bishwa Adhikari, the officer in charge of Nepal police operations in Kathmandu that day. But Kilo 1 was not at the top of the chain of command. The police log reveals the first order to use force came from a more senior officer using the call sign Peter 1.
Curfew already in place. No further need to obtain permission. Deploy necessary force.
Peter 1 was Chandrakubir Khapung, Nepal's most senior officer, the Inspector General of Police. He has denied responsibility. Nepal police told us the decision to use force came from a committee made up of Nepal's main security forces. They said IGP Khapung did not issue the order to use force ahead of the committee's decision to do so. Other police officers have admitted to failures in intelligence, training, and direction. They also blame the army for failing to support them. But most are haunted by what happened.
त्यो दिन भिड नियन्त्रण गर्नुको सट्टा हाम्रो टिमले उनीहरूलाई शत्रु जस्तै ताकेर गोली चलायो
Later that day, Shriyam's dad got a call no parent wants to get.
ल त्यसो त बङ्कुलाई ट्रमामा ल्याएको रहेछ ट्रमामा आउनु पर्यो तपाईँ भन्नु एक ठाउँमा अलिकति भिडभाड थियो के गेटदेखि अलिकति ओरा के को भिडभाड रहेछ भने यसो उठेर हेरेको त नेम लिस्ट टाँसेको रहेछ 1 नम्बरमा श्रेम चौला गाई भनेर घरमा इन्ट्री हुने बित्तिकै अब वाइफले के सोध्यो भने अनि बिरामी लिएर आउँछु भनेर जानुभएको बङ्कुची खै त तपाईँ एक्लै आउनुभयो त अनि मैले ट्रिटमेन्ट हुँदैछ चोट रहेछ ट्रिटमेन्ट हुँदैछ एक्लै उसलाई किन छोडेर आउनुभएको त ट्रिटमेन्ट भइरहेको बेलामा भनेर भन्ने खालको क्वेसन गर्यो होइन तर म ठगिरहेछु होइन म कसरी बसेँ होला.
But despite the slaughter, the Prime Minister dug his heels in.
धेरैले चाहिँ नि प्रधानमन्त्रीको राजीनामा तत्काल चाहियो भनेर प्रमुख प्रतिपक्षी दल लगायत
सडकमा बसेर मागेर त्यति मागेर भएन नि प्रधानमन्त्रीले अहिले राजीनामा दिनुभयो.
Faced with such intransigence, some protesters began to suggest a different approach.
त्यो रात चाहिँ कहिले बिहान होला र कहिले फेरि यो सरकार विरुद्ध यसले उचालेको कदम विरुद्ध फेरि सडकमा जान पाइएला भन्ने बिहानको प्रतीक्षामा थिए म.
As dawn breaks, the fury ignites. At first, Nepal's authorities had a plan. Regular police units would contain the crowds, backed by the armed police force, with the army held in reserve. Security forces are deployed in and around the parliamentary